Good morning, everyone. It is currently 5:17 in the morning, and I'm gonna get a back workout. Gonna get a nice back session today. Ooh, I'm stretching out. Oh, my chest, because it was nice and toasted yesterday. That chest workout was very simple, very honest, and very effective, I might add. So just opening up the shoulders here, getting everything nice and warm. Plan on hitting some hex bar deadlifts, getting a few cable exercises in. Obviously lat pull downs. Saw a nice variation on some cable rows from Athlete X, Jeff Cavalier. I know everybody knows Jeff. Everybody knows Jeff. But mixing in a few weighted pull-ups, maybe some calisthenic work. That should do it, y'all. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. All right, y'all, we back. First exercise on the list, we got hex bar deadlifts with my trusty 25s. I've got the bar upside down to maximize the range of motion here. And the entire reason for the season on this exercise was I wanted to get a nice big compound movement first to get the blood pumping a little bit, but also provide a little bit of stimulus to the upper back, the traps, as the name would entail. Trap bar, hex bar, they're kind of interchangeable there. But this is a deadlift. It's a deadlift, essentially, okay? The difference being with the hex bar, the weight is all around the body and we're pulling through the body versus a traditional conventional deadlift where the weight is in front of the body and we're having to pull in front of the body. That's really where a lot of people get injured. That's where a lot of these horror stories come out from. I said horror, okay? Horror stories, okay? Not the other word. But that's where it's in that position that if you're not skilled, if you're not trained in the deadlift properly, you have a higher chance and probability of throwing that low back out due to hyperextension, tight hamstrings. There's a multitude of reasons as to why that could happen, but hex bar helps negate all of those reasons. First set that you saw was my starting set at 25 pounds. I got 4 sets of this in total. What you're seeing now is the very top set. I've got 2 25-pound plates plus 2 10-pound plates on each side, equating to around 150, 160 pounds, something like that. Nothing astronomical, but I wanted to keep the weight plate small and not put the 45s on because I wanted to retain the largest range of motion that I could possibly muster. I took a little bit of a break there to just readjust the grip. The bar was kind of falling a little backwards and it was causing some issues for me balance wise, and so readjusted the grip, made sure that everything was working good. No straps on this one. I wanted to get the forearms a little bit of activation before getting into the major back exercises that we were going to perform today. Mainly going to be cable exercises, some variations on lat pull down, like I said, a new variation on the row. It's more of like a cable row, like a seated cable row. Really enjoyed it. Athlete X, Jeff Cavalier. If you haven't been there, if y'all don't know about him, you should know about him. He's got like 6 million subscribers on YouTube. Moving on. First exercise that we got on the cable machine here. Low, high to low, just nice lat, traditional lat pull down. As always, I'm still working for that muscle up, so I'm pulling all the way down to the hip, all the way down to the quad to really emphasize that large range of motion. And I'm very happy from week to week, the imbalance in my right shoulder seems to have dissipated somewhat. You'll see it come up here shortly as I get more fatigued and as the movement becomes a little bit more strenuous, fatiguing, as I said, to be redundant. But I'm very happy with this footage. As I was reviewing it in real time, set after set, I was like, wow, okay, we're making some headway, we're making some progress. Keeping in mind that I had previous to this day a very good chest workout, very good chest day, wherein I was able to in real time, check the position of my shoulders to make sure that they were both pressing from the exact same position. There you see that little imbalance come into play right there. But in any case, very proud, very happy with my progress here. Adopting a bit of a wider grip this time, so outside of shoulder width, as you can see. Slow eccentrics on the way up, and I'm trying my best to get a full range of motion, get a nice big stretch on those lats before getting that full contraction position there via the concentric portion of the movement. As y'all will see here later in the video, I go from these less traditional lat pull down muscle up variations to a more traditional lat pull down, where you'll see me pull the bar all the way down to my upper chest, the clavicle area, just to emphasize a lot more traps, mid back, rear delts, a little bit more biceps, not to a very large degree, but for just at least a different look than what you're getting right here. This is just mainly so I can get my body used to pulling in that large range of motion, and here we go. This is the more traditional lat pull down that we got. I got my Versa grips on because I really wanted to make sure that my back musculature and my posterior chain was the limiting factor and not the forearms. Another change that I made for this exercise specifically was I put both cables attached to the lat pull down bar. So this Force USA G15 has two options in terms of cable pulleys. You can either have a 4-to-1 option or a 2-to-1 option. The 2-to-1 option is a lot harder, is a little bit more weighted, so to speak, and the 4-to-1 option just kind of cuts that weight in quarters. So a little bit easier to do those large range pull-ups with the 4-to-1, and then I wanted to get a little bit more weight stimulus for the upper back and the traps on this 2-to-1 here that you're seeing. So that's why the forearms are, that's why the grips are there, and now we're pulling a little bit heavier weight. One thing that I noticed in terms of going heavier on this next set here is that stability kind of was a little sacrificed by sitting there on the floor. I believe I was pulling about 180 pounds there, and I only weigh about 165, maybe 170 on a really, really heavy day. Serious victim weight, okay? I know on some circles of the gram, serious victim weight. But in any case, I was able to somewhat stabilize. I think next time I try this, I'll have to get my lap pad and put it down. That way I've got something to pull against, and that way I'm really able to activate all of that back musculature to its fullest extent. In any case, still getting a really large range of motion, really controlling that eccentric, that negative portion. And this felt really good. I love the feeling of that weight pulling me up, and it also offers, in my opinion, a sort of decompressive effect to counteract the compressive effect that the lat pull downs, that the hex bar deadlift offered. That hex bar deadlift was a lot of compound movements. There's a lot of links in the kinetic chain that are being worked there, and I felt that this was helping to just kind of really turn on just the back musculature, and at the same time, at that very top position, that weight is pulling up on my spine, offering that decompressive effect, which feels oh so good. Now, getting into this next exercise, this is the variation of the cable row that I found off of Athlean X. I loved this. This felt phenomenal. This felt fantastic. As you can see, I'm on my bench. I've got it set to a decline, so I'm able to really accentuate that hip hinge and that range of motion, offering a massive stretch on those lats. And then at the very top, that concentric contraction right there was all traps, upper back, rear delts, and even lats. So man, this felt fantastic. I'm definitely going to keep this in for future back training days. In addition to all of the back stimulus that I was able to garner, the position that my legs are in with that external rotating of the hips, my knees are out, my feet are out, I was getting an awesome stretch on my hamstrings, which previous to this were hella stimulated from my last leg day. So this felt really good to just open my hips up, stretch those hamstrings out, and at the same time, offer a very large stimulus without a lot of fatigue. The stimulus to fatigue ratio, as you will hear the greats like Dr. Mike Israetel talk about SFR, we want to be picking exercises that stimulate and don't necessarily fatigue as much. If we're out here doing, let's say, medicine ball slams, right? Sure, that's going to work the back. It'll also work a few other different muscle groups, synergistic muscle groups, but it's going to get you tired more than anything. And in terms of hypertrophy, that's not the goal. We're not trying to get tired. We're trying to stimulate muscle growth and muscle activation. So this has in my opinion, solid SFR. Solid SFR. Extremely stimulating, not as fatiguing as possible. And with the hamstrings, with the Versa grips on, it was all back. Forearms, not even a concern in this exercise here. So definitely keeping this one in the playbook. We'll see it later in future back days for sure. Love seeing the back development here. Things are looking A-okay in my book. And yeah, awesome exercise. If you get a chance to try this in y'all's gym, wherever you may be, highly recommend it. Just don't do it during peak hours when people are trying to get off on the machines. You might get some flack. You might get some static for it, okay? That's not my rules. That's just the rules, and that's just what it is. If you want to come train with me in my private gym, hit me up. With that said, shameless plug out the way. We're going to move on from this exercise here in just a moment to a more calisthenic focused movement that I was playing with last week in order to gain a little bit more awareness and strength in the muscle up movement pattern. But you see me here, I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time, which, hey, in terms of training, that's what it's all about. Moving on into these assisted muscle ups. That's what I'm going to call them anyway at this point in time. Using my legs as a self-spotting method. Now, if you're going to try this, make sure that your legs are not the primary drivers. The back is, okay? So that's going to mean including a few things, including a few checklists. When I'm on the concentric, when I'm pulling up, it's all back. It's all back. And I stay there at the bar to really position myself and make sure that my torso is all in line. Everything is symmetrical. Everything is looking good. And on the way down, I'm slowing that eccentric. The legs are there only to provide support. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. Just support and to offer a little bit more stability there. You can see my shoulder blades kind of going a little wonky, little up, little down. In any case, this was feeling phenomenal. I was getting a nice burn right underneath the armpit, exactly where it needed to be. And the mirror keeping me honest, keeping me very, very honest, and providing visual feedback for me to let me know, hey, I'm in the right position, I'm on the right tempo, taking the right cues. I'm still getting a very full range of motion, a very big stretch there at the bottom, even in that compressed position with my legs all the way down. Almost looks like a narrow stance squat, but I'm rounding the back a little bit to accentuate that range of motion and make sure that everything is working and getting stimulated the way it needs to be. Moving on from there, I wanted to throw in a little bit of tricep action. So what I did was some cross-body cable tricep extensions. And notice the back is traditionally a pulling muscle. When you think of pulling, you think of the back. You think of the traps, you think of the lats, you think of the rear delts, you think of all of those muscles, right? But here I am with my tricep extension, using my back in an isometric fashion to stabilize my arms in their position and then get that tricep extension. So that's kind of this nice synergistic opportunity for some of the pulling muscles to help some of the pushing muscles wherein we're working the triceps here, right? Getting a nice, awesome stimulus. This was at the very end of my workout, so things were already starting to kind of, I was already kind of running low on steam, so to speak. But I followed those tricep extensions up with some close grip prone front levers here. My dog is going crazy, y'all, so I'm sorry if you hear my dog. She's going wild. but using the Versa grips to make sure that the forearms are not the limiting factor, that the back, the posterior chain was in fact the limiting factor. These felt really hard to do at the very end of this workout. My lats were fairly stimulated, fairly torched, fairly smoked. And then got another set of these cross-body tricep extensions wherein I lowered the posts, so where the cables are coming from. So pulling more at a midline part of the body there. Just kind of for me, I feel it works the triceps at a different angle, gives me a little bit more different of a stimulus. But again, the back muscles, the posterior chain is working to stabilize the arms and provide that solid foundation upon which to extend those triceps. You've seen me on this set and the previous set kind of do a little bit of a switcheroo there. I like to do that because I'm a bit OCD about this type of stuff, and so if the left arm is on top, I like the right arm to be on top next. So I got 20 reps, 2 sets. It was enough to at least stimulate the triceps. And then finally, to finish this workout off, we got more front lever work, but this time I'm using an overhand grip. So just kind of a different angle, just checking off boxes and making sure that, at least we touch these calisthenic exercises. Thanks for watching, y'all, and we'll see you on the next one. Alrighty, y'all, and that does it for this morning's back workout. Feeling good. Lats are feeling pretty toasted. Shoulders are feeling pretty nice and stimulated, and I think we did a good job this morning. So if you made it this far, I appreciate the view. Like, share, comment, subscribe, rumble, and until next time, we'll see you. Peace.